Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show, The Strange Reality with Dave Emmons. I don't have my typical background of strange reality because everybody knows I'm strange, number one. And number two, everybody knows the reality isn't real. I mean, what we look at reality is just not really that real. So let's face it, I mean, just some of the things that's happened to me in the past, 2 or 3 weeks, like in Montana and Wyoming and Idaho. I had some experiences that were out of this world experiences. I did a show here just here recently. Dr. Robert Schiepe is my guest tonight. Dr. Robert, I just did a show with my experiences about seeing a sphere, and this sphere shot me with energy in my car.
Wow.
Yeah, it was kind of scary for about a whole minute. It was shooting energy at me, and it sounded like vroom, 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 like that. And it was kind of like a magnetic energy or whatever. And there was a sound, a real low humming sound in the car, and it was a low hum, but it was loud. I mean, it just penetrated me. It just penetrated everything in the car, and I was a little shook up about it after about a minute. And my mind wasn't. I didn't didn't get back to my mind, and I drove out on the interstate and I was driving, and I was still out of my mind because I was talking to my wife, who I thought was sitting next to me. She wasn't. She was already in Seattle. She went ahead of me to visit her daughter, my stepdaughter,
Yeah.
in Seattle.
Yeah.
So I drove out, and she flew out. I drove out because we wanted to go down through and see her friends and her sister throughout the West, and then get to Sedona and Las Vegas and places like that. So that's why I drove out so I could pick her up, and we spent 2 or 3 days in Seattle. But yeah, it was a neat trip. But I I I didn't see much homeless people in Seattle. There was a street or two. What I saw was a lot of young people out there. I guess they work for these Silicon Valley companies, and they're just all over the street. Looked like they was having fun. I mean, I kind of enjoyed driving through the center of town. It looked like there was a lot of liveliness and young people out
Wow.
partying. Yeah. So, but there
Wow.
was a street with a couple of streets that had some homeless people there. Uh, but that's one of the towns that are that are ensnarled into these riots and these demonstrations, just like watching, Portland, Oregon, and that place is. I think we need to change things before we lose our country. We're going to lose our country if things just keep going downhill. You know.
Well, we have to keep a focused discipline because the future is all about critical thinking, higher mathematics, higher physics, and we always got to stay focused on that.
Right.
Um, if you lose that focus, other countries will stay focused and they will have superior technology. And then that just really invites a lot of uncertainty when your security is not secure and your front door is not locked anymore.
Right.
Because other countries, they do want this superior knowledge, the math, the physics, the chemistry,
Well, there is
and
a
even,
is an element though, Doctor Robert, that wants to take over the world. It's the cabal. It's a new world order. They're the ones
yeah,
stirring up all the trouble in Europe, in UK, in Ireland, and those people are about ready to have civil wars over there in Europe, in UK and Ireland. They're about ready to fight, and this influx of immigration has just caused a melting pot. It's not a melting pot; it's a steaming pot. It just stirs up a lot of different trouble. I mean, you don't go into a country. I said this before. You don't go into a country as a visitor or a new person to the country, and they let you in. You don't go there and then introduce your laws, your standards, your culture. You're taking over the whole culture in UK and Ireland, and they don't want they're tired of it. We us here in this country, I think, be honest with you, I am tired of the riots we need to stop this stuff. We need to stop it because it's being run by, I'm going to say it, this is for entertainment purposes only. It's being run by communism, and these are the people that are donating money to keep these riots going and trouble going, we can talk this stuff out and work it out a little bit better than what they're doing. I mean, we need to be civil about this, and but we got people that are donating money. They already got about 7 or 8 of them that they're going to go after. That's donating money to these. They're paying these people to riot and demonstrate. These people don't even know what they're rioting and demonstrating about. Actually, it's I know you're near L.A. and they've had their share of problems there, and I think that's kind of dying down, isn't it, Dr. Robert?
Right now, it's quiet. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. It's quiet. LA is quiet. We've got we're trying to figure out what to do with the Palisades fires. We have 20,000
Yeah.
homes that are missing. I could tell you, I went up there last month. It's been about 10 months now, so decided to go up there last month. It's a ghost town. It's like being in the middle of the desert. From one major city to the next, or
Right.
like from LA to Vegas, you go through all this desert.
Right.
Um, wow, I don't know how they're going to recover. I really don't. It's
Oh, the problem is there's been a couple of charities, and they had a couple of events that musicians and big time stars they put together, and they raised about, I don't know how many million. I could be wrong here, 40 or 50 million. That money's gone. They don't even know where it went. So, and then they were supposed to have these building permits that the mayor said that they was going to get right away, and the governor said, "Yeah, we will get them right away." They never have done it. The building permits are not coming out for people. Uh,
yeah.
they can't even
No,
rebuild.
I think maybe like I said when I was just there, I saw out of really out of at least in Palisades, 10,000 homes that are missing. I saw like 6 being built.
Yeah.
6. It's just you wouldn't want to live there right now because there's nowhere to go, there's nowhere to shop, uh, and then forget it when the sun goes down. Just you're in the middle of the desert. You forget that idea.
Yeah. Yeah. It's if people could only see these things. I mean, most of the nation is not seeing what's going on, like in California, the fires, but I do know, and I have to say that the people in charge are not doing anything to help it. They're not giving people the building permits. They're not expediting things, and they're not doing what they're supposed to do. And
It's very concerning. There's just
go
there's a
figure.
lot of duplicity. A lot of duplicity. For me, it's not that hard.
Yeah.
Here's all you. I wouldn't even. I would say just start building. We'll give you the permits as you build.
Right.
I,
But you got to look at the inept leaders that you have there in California. It's pretty bad. I'm not getting political, but I'm just saying personally, these people are dumber than a box of rocks, and
well,
they're not getting things done.
they're supposed to make our life easier.
Yeah.
They really are, and I don't see it happening.
Right.
I just don't. You know what I might do? Just literally, I might drive up there after the sun goes down, so people can really get a feeling what it's like to be in the Palisades at night.
Mm-hmm.
It's just super eerie.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, without headlights on your car, you couldn't drive around out there.
Yeah.
So it's don't expect any fast solutions.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah, we got off on this conversation because I know you're close to the action, and I also been watching all these riots and these this going against federal people. I mean you go against federal laws. When I was a kid, I never did dream about disrespecting a cop. When a cop pulled me over and I was walking on the street and I wasn't out of curfew, a cop would ask me, "What are you doing, son?" I said, "Well, I'm walking home." He said, "Where you live?" I said, "Just right up there." And he says, "You better scoot, get going." So I didn't mess with him. I was afraid of cops, but nowadays these young people are not afraid of cops. They disrespect them. And
It's
it,
yeah.
it
There's no reason. There's no reason to do that. There's no reason to look for confrontation.
right,
You talk to people nice, they'll talk to you nice.
right. And most of the cops that I know today, they I think they approach things in a proper way. But they're being accused of being so brutal, and that's not true. Well, we got off on a tangent there, Doctor Schiepe. Dr. Robert Schiepe is the guest here on The Strange Reality with Dave Emmons. And my lighting has went down a little bit since the sun stopped coming through. It's a little dark, so I need to maybe turn some light on.
Yeah.
That'll supply a little bit, but I'm getting some reflection here. But Dr. Robert Schiepe is a doctor of pharmacology and a pharmacist for the stars in Hollywood 20 years ago. And he can't tell us a lot of those people because this is medical information. He invented the mail delivered medicines, and you get medicines in mail. This is the guy who started all that back in the 80s. He also invented the unique camera recording technique to take videos of these dragons, and we'll talk about those. That's what we're here to talk about, that move 2,000 miles per hour. Most of his pictures he has taken were in his own backyard in California, in a nice place right there near the beach and the waterfront. He has been researching UFOs and these dragons for 40 years. You can look up Dr. Robert Schiepe on his YouTube show called Dragons and UFOs. He wants people to take pictures of aircraft and locate these dragons that occur all over the world. ET drones independently. You can contact Dr. Schiepe at custodianfile@gmail.com. And that's my intro on Dr. Schiepe. Dr. Robert, could you tell us what you've been up to lately, and what is some of the new stuff that you've been finding out? It's been a while since you and I got together.
Yeah, it has. Wow. So, geez, where do I even start here? Let me just kind of briefly just start in the beginning. The summer of 2017, I live in Marina del Rey, Los Angeles. The summer of 2017, the Navy Black Hawks and the Coast Guard helicopters came in together, and they circled Marina del Rey at 200 feet elevation for every day for 4 hours, every day. And so after 2 weeks, I just thought that was extremely ridiculous that this, whatever they're doing is still going on. I took my camera out, started creating video.
I'm going to turn the light on. I'll be right in a second.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. And you could see these tiny objects flying up to the helicopters very fast, very quickly.
That's a little better.
Yeah, much better. About the size of a silhouette.
And I had too much light. Now I don't have enough. Okay, here we go.
Exactly.
Sorry about that technical glitch.
Yeah. So these silhouettes, they're about the size of a football, and they're flying up to our helicopters. And I just actually 5 minutes before I got online with you, the sheriff was just here. Flew for 20 minutes in a circle. Oh, let me shut that beep off there. Sorry about that. A lot of activity right now going on all over the place.
Really?
So the sheriff, the bottom line, the sheriff was just here frantically chasing these UAPs. And I'm not exaggerating right now. It wasn't just a regular flyby, fly in, fly out. I was able to catch half of it on video, and I will process that video. But during the video, I saw a couple of them fly by the helicopter, and the pilot knew it. He was consciously doing everything he could to chase these UAPs. The deal is they're very small, they're very fast, agile, 2,000 miles an hour. That's all been confirmed by the Pentagon. There's other characteristics. These are not birds or bugs. They trigger your car radar detector. They'll trigger the X-band. In fact, I have my camera on right now. I have my radar detector on. It might, in the background, go off. It's pointed at the ocean. It might go off, so you might hear K-band or X-band just go off. They leave an audio on your video like the sound of a pencil, very tiny click, easy to miss, easy. It took me actually 3 years before I realized that the click was real. So that's how easy it is to miss. They fly behind a metal pole. You can still see the silhouette of their image because they're giving off gamma rays, high voltage, very similar to a hospital x-ray. And they mess with your autofocus. And they're calling that now, other researchers are calling that gravitational lensing. But if you're recording the skies and your autofocus is going in and out, those are the UAPs. And I call them dragons Because for the first year, I thought they were dragonflies. So it's not a video game. It's very serious. I thought in the beginning it was a bug. It had to be a bug, had to be. But that was 8 years, 14,000 hours of research, 6,000 videos, and they're predictable. What I mean by that is if you fly in the air with a helicopter or airplane, they will fly up to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's why I have 6,000 videos, because I know when to turn my camera on.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
Dr. Robert, you explained something that I just had an experience on 2 weeks or so ago with my cell phone camera. I couldn't get to my other camera because my wife had everything packed so tight I could never reach down and find it anyway. So,
yeah.
so it was just that it was there, but I couldn't get to it fast enough. So I took the pictures with the cell phone, and you have to capture something when you see it. You said something about that they control your focal point, and this sphere that I was taking pictures of looked further away in the camera pictures that I got than it did in reality. It looked close to me, right across the street, in between some trees over a valley, and it was about 2 to 3 feet wide in diameter. And my camera shows it small, and I tried to adjust, widening it real quick, but it just didn't work too well. I just had a lot of problems. But then, after about 3 or 4 pictures, I got hit with energy anyway, so that stopped me right in my tracks. But no,
Yeah.
you're saying that these little drones, these Dragon drones, can control your camera, Dr. Robert?
They absolutely can. I haven't figured out how they're doing that yet, because they're not right in front of the camera. They're flying with the helicopter, which is 2 to 5,000 feet away. But yet, when they enter the picture, the picture will phase out. It's very frustrating because you're losing good video.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm constantly trying to compensate, but it's not fast enough to compensate for what they're doing. Gravitational lensing. I haven't figured out how they're doing that yet. I'm sure, actually, though, the universities or the military industrial complex knows how to do that.
Yeah.
Well, whatever these things are, they do. And so for 8 years, people say, well, how do you know it's not DARPA? How do you know it's not the government? And that's a great question. My first comeback answer is that maybe it could be DARPA, but there's just one problem with that. They also fly up to the president's helicopter. So who has the authority in the United States to fly objects up to the president's helicopter, let alone every helicopter on planet Earth?
Well, yeah, you got something there, but the military-industrial complex, they consider themselves about 12 levels higher in their security clearances than the president. So, yeah, the
Yeah,
president can't even see some of the stuff that goes on. It is confusing, and I'm wondering sometimes even that sphere that I saw, but I did see some ETs that same night, just before that, running across the road behind me in my rearview mirror. So there was two little grays running across
what,
the road.
what, what city, what state?
Well, this was in Chugwater, Wyoming. It's a back road, two lane road, no cars out, no street lights. It was dark, and there was a town called Torrington, and I saw a kind of a blobbish looking orange light, big thing, come down and land in behind a big farmhouse. And I said, uh-oh. So I drove past Torrington, and I started driving more, and then I start seeing orbs in my back mirror, my rearview mirror. I saw one big one, and I thought, okay, that's a street light. I'll keep my eye on it. Well, 10 minutes later, I looked again, and there it was. It had a little one and a big one. And they were following me in the same place on the road. And I thought to myself, this is weird, So, and then I saw a little red one join them. I said, something's wrong here. Then another little white one. There's four of them in my rearview mirror, and I got scared. And normally, after I wrote my books about UFOs, and I've had my UFO encounters, this kind of worried me, and I wanted to call my wife and say, if I disappear, this is probably why I'm disappearing. I was actually scared, so I tried to keep
I,
an eye on the road, but I think they did get me. I was about 2 or 3 miles from Interstate 25, and that's what I was trying to head to. And so, because there was a slowdown in my mind, and I was driving, and I looked in the rearview mirror, and there were two gray aliens in my rearview mirror dashing across the 2-lane road to the other side, I think getting back to their ship. And I thought, oh my God. I said a couple of cuss words I don't want to say. I said, gee whiz. I said, I took some deep breaths. I said, this, something could have happened. I could have been taken. I don't know what they did.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if it wasn't for seeing those two little grays, about 4 feet tall, scooting across the road behind me, I would have thought, okay, this is, nothing happened. But when I saw them, I knew something must have happened,
Yeah.
because what they did
Yeah.
is staged me. They staged me on the road, got me
Yeah.
and started me off, and then they took off in behind me. Yeah. So
Yeah. The offhand, so I went to pharmacy school, Laramie, Wyoming. How far would you say you were from Laramie?
Laramie, oh, I was only when I got on the interstate, I was only about 3 or 4 miles close to Laramie. I passed through Laramie. Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay,
Yeah.
because I have some UFO stories from Laramie. So wow, look at
Yeah.
that. That
Yeah.
was in that was in 1979. And look, nothing's changed.
Right.
There,
I think a lot of the UFOs moved up to Wyoming and Montana, and even Idaho. But yeah,
yeah,
it's a I talked about this on the show. I had Steve Mira interview me last night, and he interviewed me about all these things that happened to me, and he's going to put out a video. But it's strange. You never get too old. You think you see these things. I wanted to ask you also, Dr. Robert, before you continue, have
yeah.
you have you seen your friend? What is his name? Finkelstein.
Well, Glenn Falkenstien, he passed away in 2010.
Yeah.
Uh, I Now for your viewers, so Glenn Falkenstein, long story short, was the most gifted psychic on planet Earth.
Yes.
Hands down, no comparison. Nobody could come 1% close. Um, so occasionally in my dreams, he'll tell me something, but not recently, not in the last 6 months. He hasn't brought anything up. Although his favorite day of the year was October 30, was Halloween, because he's very psychic and he could communicate with a lot of spirits. So um, don't be surprised if something between now and October, even just Halloween, don't be surprised if something extraordinary happens, a major sighting, something in the news, major news story. Yeah. Uh, Glenn is a whole other category. Glenn is technically a bigger category than UFOs.
Yeah. I've seen his YouTube. It's just amazing, amazing, man. Uh, I wanted to ask you also about, have you heard anything from the military about these Dragon drones? Have you heard anything from them lately?
not, no, not anything different. Although in the last 3 months, the newest, it highly appears that the police and the military are now flying with new technology, flight awareness, that gives them about a 5-second warning that these UAP dragons are flying right at them. And I'm saying that because I record them, and you can now see these helicopters are pulling up in the air right when the dragon flies under them.
Hmm.
Too coincidental.
Wow.
Or the helicopter will turn and the dragon will turn, and they're turning in sync. That's never happened before. So you might say after 8 years, and I'm sure the military industrial complex has been working day and night trying to figure out what to do about this. It appears that they now have the ability to locate, track, and at least turn with them in sync. Now, again, a helicopter is going 150 and these are going 2,000. But nevertheless, a little progress has been made in 8 years. That's, yeah. 3 months ago, 2 months ago, I'll send you the videos.
Okay.
We had We did. We had the Blackhawks come in. We had the police. They were flying in sync, and something really bizarre, super bizarre. Uh, the Fox News helicopter, which really never comes to Marina Del Rey, purposely flew in the Marina Del Rey, started chasing these dragons, and with a Top Gun Tom Cruise attitude, like flying an F-22. That's how violent he was flying this helicopter, chasing them. I caught it all on video. And on the video, you could see them turning together. Like this pilot was really trying, to get the upper edge. And maybe if the helicopter was faster, it would have worked, because this guy was not a regular helicopter pilot. I don't know who trained him, but this is not a regular news helicopter pilot. And I have the video. I posted it 2-3 months ago. It got a lot of views. It got a lot of views. And, so that's where we're at. We now have more agile flight awareness. I don't know if they're tracking them using picking up remember that earlier I said the X-band radio trigger the X-band?
Yes.
Maybe they have a very sensitive X-band receiver, or they're picking up the audio clip, because they do leave a clip. Maybe it's both now. Maybe they have this new technology that can detect both markers, and that's what's given them the ability to turn with them. Mm-hmm. It's kind of getting good. I mean, these things are still hundreds, if not thousands, of years ahead of us, but we've made some progress in 8 years.
Yeah, I want to ask you. I know you've got some film of UFOs, UAPs, and you have, I don't know if you have pictures of orbs or whatever. How about the Buga Sphere? I wanted to ask you about your opinion about the Buga Sphere.
Boy,
yeah,
I know a lot of, I would say right now, based on what's been reported, it's more real than fake. I would say it's more real. Mm-hmm. Yeah, based on the evidence, how it changes mass. It's not supposed to be able to change mass. So based on the data reported, now chances are, I wouldn't be surprised if it's an extraterrestrial sphere, but they took it out of their museum from 10,000 years ago.
Yeah.
And they sent it to Earth to here, play with this. This is the Model T.
Yeah.
It's like we took the Model T and we gave it to scientists 500 years ago. Here, play with that. What do you think about that? And they would be like, oh my God, what is this thing?
Yeah. Well, I saw a sphere that kicked my butt. This one fired back. And I wanted to get that news to people, to some of the people that are studying this stuff, like Dr. Stephen Greer. I wanted him to know that these things will shoot. They'll shoot back energy at you. And I don't know what the energy is for. Is it to scare you off? Is it to stop you? Is it to get into your nerves and your DNA and kind of restructure? I don't know, Dr. Robert.
You can only as a scientist, I can use educational assumptions and then also on inside information. So first of all, you can assume anything that advanced can certainly defend themselves, and you would not want to provoke them. Now, at the same time, I'm friends with the only UFO liaison officer that the Air Force ever trained. His name is Major George Filer. He's still alive, New Jersey, about 90 years old. He was the only UFO liaison officer that the Air Force ever created. And his only job was to report to a 4-star general every day and give me the newest information. So based on what he told me, Major Filer told me, and by the way, I'm looking at my flight radar in case the Army or Black Hawk flies in. I'm going to record them. That's my heads up. It's free radar, planefinder.net.
Yeah. Have you talked to any of the Air Force people that you've been instructing lately, Dr.
Well,
Robert?
I've March Air Force Base, Riverside, California. I've gone there twice. I've given them two presentations,
Hmm.
two, and I've been thinking about reaching out and talking to the liaison officer there. And if you want me to come back, I'll give a third presentation. They know about it. They're, believe me, the military. That's how I learned about it. 8 years ago, the military showed their cards, right? You fly in for 14 days at 200 feet and you're hovering,
Hmm.
you're going to get attention. So 100% the military, there's not even, I would tell them, don't even try to deny this. You look really, really foolish.
Hmm.
Got 6,000 videos of the opposite. If you try to deny this, it won't look good. So I'm all over the map here, but for what it's worth, Major Filer, 1975, he was at NORAD, Air Force Base, NORAD Command,
Right.
and the general there, four-star general. Oh, by the way, only four-star generals and four-star admirals have access to UFO clearance.
Oh.
Not a two-star, not a three-star. So in the future, if you ever see a three-star, two-star general, and he says, I'm going to tell you everything I know, just say, stop. I don't want to hear from you. Give me a four-star general. Simple as that. So back in 75, check this out. Never been reported, will never be reported. So General Putt, P-U-T-T, of NORAD, told the major, hey, I want to let you know what's been going on for the last 20 years. We had a campaign. America had a campaign. So from basically 1950 to 1970, they were given orders. The Air Force was given, the Pentagon was given orders to shoot down a UFO at any cost, because we need the technology. So after at 1970, they put a stop to the campaign. And then the general told the major, the reason we put a stop to it is somewhere in the world, we lost an aircraft every single day that was shot down by a UFO for the last 20 years. So for 20 years, we've lost how many, and there are different reports. Some say it's as high as 30,000 jets were lost.
Wow.
What they would do is they would turn our rockets around. They wouldn't hit us with a plasma laser, an EMF. They would turn our rockets around and shoot us down with our own rockets.
Yeah. I heard that happen in Vietnam. Yes.
It happens all over the world. Yeah, a lot in Vietnam. Just recently, an Italian liaison UFO officer just repeated the same story. He said that they shot our planes down with their own missile. And that's on YouTube. I know where to find it if you want it.
Yeah. There's been a lot of activity in Russia too, and they talk about it actually openly. Talk about their encounters with these UFOs and the jets that they've lost, and also they have shot one or two of them down. Dr. Robert. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. That's I don't know how that's going to play out. I would tell the pilots, unless your life is being threatened, do not shoot at them. It's not going to go well. It's just not, generally speaking. I mean, at the end of the day, you want to go home to your family.
Yeah. How about a couple of years ago? They shot one down over Canada, one of our jets. Two
They
of them
did shoot,
actually. Two of them.
actually. Actually, I think it was last year that one of our jets got shot down. It was a F-18, the electronic surveillance jet, radio jammers. They were flying over Mount Hood, Mount Rainier, where the first UFO was reported in 1947, Kenneth Arnold. I would assume they were trying to radio jam one of the UFOs, and the UAP just wasn't having it, and they shot down our plane, and both pilots died.
Wow.
You would think they would have ejected. Okay, so the plane goes down, you just eject, but it didn't happen like that.
Yeah, the
Uh,
electronics are destroyed, I guess.
yeah, they sent up our best electronic jammer. I know it's an F-18. I think it's called the EA electronic attack, something to that effect. And you can Google that, and it didn't go well. They shot our plane, killed our pilots, and just don't shoot at UFOs.
Yeah,
There's nothing will come from it.
yeah. Uh, Now we talk about the Buga Sphere, and
Yeah.
they said it's 12,000 years old. Relate?
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
12,500 years old. They tested the resin. That's where they got the carbon dating on it from the resin of.
Oh, okay. Well, to be honest with you, I was just making the assumption that something like that. I mean, they're not going to give us their best technology. They're going to give us their oldest technology. It's just an assumption in science. So I figured something 10,000 years old is pretty old, and that's what they would give us.
Yeah, and it's in Mexico City right now, being investigated, and they said Sanskrit, right? Communications like 12,000 years ago, Sanskrit. They said it actually responds to when somebody speaks Sanskrit to it. It responds some kind of a hum or something.
I,
Oh
I
yeah,
wouldn't doubt it. I
yeah,
wouldn't doubt it because with their technology, you could say they're very telepathic.
right.
Telepathy is just a science. It is. It's a radio signal. It's just like picking up your cell phone. 100 years ago, people would go, "What are you doing? What is that you're holding up to your ear?" And whatever you told them, they believe it. But it's just a science. And I could tell you that Glenn, 1986, he said in 50 years, uh, telepathy will be very common. That's around 2037, uh, 12 years,
Hmm.
2037. In 12 more years, he said telepathy will be very common. Now, at the rate we're going, I'm thinking, well, it's got to be an app. They're going to have an app for telepathy.
Hmm.
Uh, but also at the same time, have you seen now they're training these young children to be telepathic and to be able to see with their eyes closed?
Right.
Now, that's what Glenn could do. Um, the irony is, Glenn had to have his eyes closed to be psychic or telepathic.
I've seen some strange people, and they say they walk amongst us, the ETs. Dr.
Yeah,
David Jacobs said that. And I've met some. And
yeah.
there's one odd young lady at the gym that when she walks past me, she's always closing her eyes. And matter of fact, when she's even working out, she's closing her eyes. And that takes me back to what you told me about Glenn, about him closing his eyes in order to be able to pick up psychic things. So these hybrids that are walking amongst us, they have to be closing their eyes to read what you're saying, I guess. I don't.
What it is, I had to figure this out. Maybe if I kept pressing Glenn, he would have told me, but I was able to get some information from his wife. So when you close your eyes, the answer you're looking for is text in front of you.
Yeah.
It's text. So if you're just thinking, what is this person's name? You close your eyes, the name is text in front of you. And that would happen to Glenn a lot because, and the way I know that's the case is because he would try to pronounce somebody's name uh, with 5 or 6 syllables, and he would come close. So that's how you know he was reading the name. He wasn't hearing the name. He was if you hear it, you could repeat it identical. But if you're trying to read it, you're going to be off. Uh, but the thing is, it was unlimited. It was unlimited. Glenn, you could give unimaginable. You could give Glenn a blank piece of paper and say, Glenn, where did this paper come from? For instance, he was in the Iceland Air Force, United States Air Force, which was in Iceland, 1948, 1952. So the Iceland Air Force is a spy station. They listened for transmissions from the East Coast going over the North Pole to China or Russia. And so it's a listening post, and they would get a transmission at 3 in the morning, and they'd write it down. It's a blank piece of paper. Of course, it's very hard to decode these things. So they would just write down, we got a transmission at 3 in the morning, and they give it to Glenn. He was at the Air Force Base there. Mm-hmm. And Glenn would read the whole message instantly, faster than you could read a text on your phone. Faster. So, although sadly the Air Force will never admit it, Glenn decoded over 1,000 critical top secret messages, far north of 1,000. And when you have that kind of an advantage for 10 or 20, 30 years, it really gives one country a huge advantage. And I wouldn't be surprised if Glenn basically won the Cold War, because he took out so many spies. He identified, and ask AI. You could do this. Ask AI, say, in 10 years, how many spies are caught in 10 years? I did this. AI said between 0 and 2, which is about right, because spies are very hard to catch. It's hard to catch our spies. It's hard to catch their spies. They're very good at what they do. So you catch about 0 to 2 every 10 years. But in 1950 to 1970, we captured about 22 spies.
And so I guess Glenn had to keep everything top secret. And
I guess so. But Dave, I don't know. I'm sorry to say I took it for granted that I was friends with someone like this. I don't know. I'm thinking, oh, we're going to live forever, and I can ask you 10,000 questions later. Of course, I should have been asking him at the time. So he would have told me. I think the only thing he considered top secret was time travel, because I accidentally asked him one good question. I said, Glenn, have you ever met anyone who's telepathic like you are? He goes, yeah, I was doing a radio show 50 years ago at Universal Studio Tours at Studio City, Los Angeles. He said this guy walked up to me and said he was very impressed with my telepathic ability. And he was telepathic also. And Glenn goes, oh, you are? And I said, well, Glenn, whoa. I said, whoa. Tell me about this guy. What's going on? Do you hear the K-band right there? No? Yeah. He goes, I said, who is this guy? Well, I don't want to really talk about him. Tell me something. Hear the radar going off? No? So I said, Glenn, tell me something. Well, he's a time traveler. I said, time traveler? And that, to Glenn, that was nothing. In Glenn's world, that was just like ordering a glass of water compared to what Glenn had access to. So yeah, he was doing some research, let's just say 250 years ago, doing research.
Can I tell you a little secret that I've learned from talking to people that I thought were interdimensional people that I've seen? I didn't say anything, and actually I had some ETs dumb me down where I couldn't talk, only could look at them. And I've been around people who I wanted to ask more questions, just like you, Dr. Robert. I wanted to ask them more. And I thought after they were gone, I thought, oh my God, I should have asked this. I should have done this. They're turning you off. They're turning your mind off to just they say, they kind of just tell you to chill, don't ask any questions. That's what Glenn was doing to you. He was controlling your thinking, Dr. Robert.
100%, Dave, because I remember going to dinner with them, and I was saying to myself, is this guy controlling my mind?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I could ask him any question in the world right now. So he must not be because I'm conscious of what I'm thinking, right? But he was.
Yeah.
He was.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I didn't ask the 10,000 questions. I could have said, who shot President Kennedy? What's his name? Where was he born? Anything in the past, anything. There's 10,000, 20,000 questions. Let me give you an example. Back in the pharmacy days, around, I guess it was like 92, 93, 1993. The LAPD bike patrol would come by my pharmacy all the time. They'd stop. It was air conditioned. They would cool off. It was summertime. I'd say, hey, you want some water? Use the restroom, whatever. And then I would say, hey, you know, I know this psychic guy. You should really meet him. And they said, no, no, no. We don't believe in that, Robert. No, we're police officers. We don't believe in that.
Yeah.
No. I'm like, okay. I don't know. I was taken back by. I said, okay. Well, a couple months later, they stopped by. They were just chilling. That radar's still going off there. And Glenn Falkenstien walked in the pharmacy with them there. I said, oh my God, I can't, a match made in heaven. I can't believe this. So I said to the officer, I say, hey, let me show you something. Pull $1 out of your pocket. He goes, okay. I said, Glenn, I'm sorry. I know this is not a dog and pony show. Please, Glenn, just this one time. Touch the dollar bill and read the serial number. So Glenn turns his head, he covers his eyes, he goes like this, and he reads the serial number in front of 3 police officers. Dave, I wish I had it on video, man. Dave, they were not happy.
Yeah.
They were not happy. They didn't say, hey, that's amazing. How did you do that? They got really mad.
Why would they get mad, Dr. Robert?
I think they were assuming I was trying to set them up, something weird. I have no clue. But they were mad. And when I tell you they left and never came back, they never came back.
Really?
And I have to assume, I think Glenn was doing me a favor. He was trying to tell me, with these guys, you don't want to be buddies. I'm very police friendly kind of guy,
Mm-hmm.
but I think he was saying with these 3, I don't want you around them.
Yeah.
And I think that's what went down. But yeah, that's so who knows? Maybe I'm sure those 3 officers are still alive. They could tell you that story. That would be a hell.
Yeah, I often thought about your conversations with Glenn, and I go back, and it's nice that you and I are this is first show that we've just been able to talk back and forth, because we were always showing videos and things of that nature. But I think this is good to have a heart-to-heart talk about the things that you know behind the scenes. And I wanted to ask you more about Glenn, but I want to ask you about, they talk about the movie stars being clones, being doubles. And I know you can't mention names, but can you tell me if you noticed anything weird about these movie stars, Dr. Robert?
I think I understand what you're asking. And I did hang around a lot of them. But no, nothing that I would consider a marker that's out of place. No, I mean, at the same time, I was really never focused on that. No, from what I understand, these hybrids. Let me shut this this radar off.
Yeah, we can't hear
off.
we can't hear it too well. Yeah.
Okay. I could tell you this. Major Filer told me that these hybrids, what to look for if you want to recognize them, they're extremely attractive, genetically perfect people.
Right. Mm-hmm.
On the level, just on a 10 out of a 10, they're 10, male and female. Okay, genetically perfect. They come across at about 24 years old. My wife and I, 10 years ago, we were the soup plantation before they all closed down. I think most of them have closed down. Right here in Marina Del Rey, we were there just sitting there, and two of them walked in. And when I tell you they stood out of a crowd like a sore thumb, they did not belong there. They walked in, and I was looking at them, and the first thing is like, who are you? Why are you here? You're not here to eat. Why are you here? It's just two genetically male and female human-like entities. And they actually sat next to me. And I was staring. I was just looking for some type of blemish or anything, an imperfection.
Mm-hmm.
And there was none. And I never seen them after that again. I don't know what that was about. It's knowing what I know. No, knowing what I know now. Major Filer said, telepathically communicate with them, and they'll respond.
Yeah, I heard that too. I heard that if you see one, just say in your own mind that you are an ET, and they'll turn around and look at you. You know, yeah, I've heard that.
Major Filer was at the mall, and he said about 100 feet away, he saw an extremely unusual, attractive lady. And he said to himself, I bet she's an ET. And she turned around and looked at him and ran out before he could get any closer.
Yeah. I've seen people like that, but they don't talk. They talk very few words. They might ask you where something's at, or they might say, oh, you read books? I had somebody just at the gym that's a strange guy. He's an Asian guy, and some of them are not real attractive, but you know they're okay people. But this guy was strange, and I talked to other people about him, and he just walks through. And I saw him at the grocery store after I left the gym. He was over there walking up and down the halls, and his question was to me when I talked to him. I asked him what his name was. I kind of forgot it now. Told him what my name was, and he says, oh, do you read books? I thought, what a strange question to ask somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're few words, but they talk awkwardly, you know. So that's what I've noticed about some of the ones.
You know what? Now that I think about it, this couple at the soup plantation, when they were sitting next, they weren't talking. I never noticed it till now.
Yeah.
I would have accidentally heard something. They were just sitting there, just I pretending to eat or something. There were no words.
Yeah, I run into that. Let me ask you. We'll close up here because we're having a chat, one-on-one chat. And I think I like having this chat, finding out some things that you know about Hollywood and about Glenn. This guy, you have to look him up on YouTube, people. Glenn Falkenstien. Look him up, and he's got some YouTubes, and he's been on some TV shows that it's amazing. And Dr. Robert is telling you the truth about it. Let's talk about this 3-eye atlas. What have you heard about that, Dr. Robert?
You know, I feel more comfortable talking about things where I have inside information or personal knowledge of. So unfortunately, I'm like the rest of us. I have to get my information from the internet. But basically, until it does something unusual, if it slows down and accelerates, then that's an ET craft.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple. Or if it continues to accelerate as it gets closer to the sun, that's a natural object. So obviously, unless it's giving off clear radio frequencies, that should not be happening. It's one of those wait in line. I'm going to play the odds and just say it's a regular celestial object.
Yeah. 50-50, I guess I would give it also. But I do hear so many things that the off gas is carbon dioxide, and also it has nickel in it, and there's no iron, no H2O, no iron.
Well,
It's just different than what we are used to in this galaxy. Of course, an interstellar that comes from another galaxy could have a different makeup. You know,
Of course,
I
we
grant that. Yeah.
we can only pretend. We can only pretend to maybe possess 1% of real knowledge. So we don't know all the elements going on that exist. We don't. We how, just think 500 years from now, if we were to sit down with a physicist, you think we could keep up with him?
Yeah.
Not a chance. And he wouldn't want to talk to us
Yeah.
because what would be? We'd have nothing in common. He would say, "What am I going to talk to you about?"
Yeah. I'm more afraid of this thing taking a turn and turning on Earth and hitting Earth. You know,
Well,
that's one of the worries I have right now, Dr. Robert. Yeah.
yeah, and I'm sure, believe me, I'm sure the Pentagon is watching that. And if that should happen, I'm sure they'll launch every missile we have to deflect it. Not necessary to blow it up. You don't want to blow it up, but you want to create a concussion wave,
Mm-hmm.
an explosion 5 miles from the object to create a concussion wave to push it away.
Right.
That's how they would really treat it. But I wouldn't read into it. Not, and I think if something nefarious was going on, I kind of think Glenn would tell me. I really do. He keeps me in the loop of important stuff, really important stuff,
Mm-hmm.
uh, things that would change history of the planet. So he's been pretty quiet. I'm not asking, but he's been pretty quiet. I did run into him. I don't know if I told you. About a year after he died, I did run into him.
Really? Okay.
No, I know this is where I'm going to lose all your viewers.
Yeah.
You're going to go, no, no, no. Now you've gone too far, Robert.
No, no, Dr. Robert, go ahead and tell the story because if he was a strange person, he was probably an ET and he could probably shapeshift and do what he wanted to do. And
Yeah,
I believe, and a lot of people out there believe that that stuff happens too. There's 50% of the audience that says, "Yay, yeah, it can happen." 50% might say you're crazy, but you can only please half the crowd at this point. I've been doing this for years now, and I know that there's
yeah.
a split with people who what they believe, but they're starting to believe more about UFOs and UAPs because there's more sightings. The government's talking about them. They're actually slipping out some of the information about it. Representative Luna and the other representative, I can't think of his name, but there's been
Uh,
people who actually
Tim
talk.
Burchett, Tim Burchett,
Yeah,
maybe.
he's the one who
Yeah,
said they have bases underwater, right?
yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's just I'm getting ahead of myself, but it's highly likely those representatives will come to my home because they want to see this for themselves. That's it's highly likely. It won't be tomorrow, but it will play out like that. I mean, I've had the Vatican and SETI come to my home, so it's just a matter of time. They will, and that's I'm in no hurry. I don't mind. But let me tell you when I ran into Glenn after he passed away.
Mhm.
We went to the movies. We were in Westwood, and we went to see the Snowden movie. I, that was like 10, 11 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I was with my wife, and we got there early. So the theater was empty. And I kind of like that. I like to just watch the
Yeah.
movie. And
Yeah.
so I sit in the back because I want to see the whole screen. And and when I was walking up to the last aisle in the back, there was this older gentleman there, kind of hiding with a hat and a coat. And I got a little bit of vibe. I said, man, that guy reminds me of Glenn. But I didn't think about it. So and remember, Glenn's specialty was about spy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying Snowden was a spy. I don't think so. But something that Glenn he would go to that movie and watch it. Uh, so he just sat like two chairs away from me. And then after a couple hours, yeah, he got up and he walked away from the left. Yeah, he walked away. And I was a little curious, but I left it alone. So we walk out and we're walking around for 15 minutes. like, where are we going to get lunch? We got to get lunch somewhere because we went to an early movie. And I said, you know what? Why don't we just go across the street? There's a famous hamburger place in LA. It's called the Apple Pan.
Mm-hmm.
The Apple Pan on Pico Boulevard. Basically, it's a horseshoe counter. It's a house from, I don't know, 1910. Somebody converted this house into a restaurant with a horseshoe counter. It's one of those things that just stick. You're lucky if you can get in there. Oh, like 15, 20 minutes go by, and we go, let's walk across the street to the Apple Pan. And I'm walking up to the door, and there's this guy, this older guy, and he's holding the door open for me. I said, that's really weird. That's really kind of odd. And I glanced at him, but not enough to really pick up detail. So I walk in, I go to the right, and I sit down. And then he walks in behind me, and he sits next to me. And so I look at my wife on my left. I go, I'm going to talk to this guy. As soon as I said that, this guy got up and walked out.
Really? Wow.
Now, who does that? Who goes to their favorite hamburger stand, sits down, and then gets up and walks out?
Yeah, that's weird.
So what makes it weirder? It gets even... There are some very strange synchronicities in my life for the last 40, 50 years. Mm-hmm. Now I'm understanding it was Glenn. Now, why, I don't know. But I'm telling you, Glenn was behind these impossible synchronicities. So check this out. So what I do out of respect, I go to the Apple Pan every 4th of July because Glenn passed away on 4th of July. So a couple years ago, I tell my wife, we're going to the Apple Pan on 4th of July, just out of respect for Glenn, because in my mind, that's where I last saw Glenn, was at the Apple Pan. Mm-hmm. Even though he died in San Antonio, I said, that was Glenn. I don't care what you say, that was Glenn. So I tell her, keep your ears open. There's going to be a clue. It may be really hard to catch, but we're going to pick up on a clue here. So I go to sit down, and there was this gentleman sitting there already. I go, oh, darn it, he's in my seat. I wanted to sit there. So I sit next to him, and within 5 minutes, this gentleman is talking, and he's talking to his wife, and he goes, yeah, I really, really miss my boss, Jerry Buss, the owner of the LA Lakers, Dr. Jerry Buss. He owned the LA Laker basketball team. And I said, I'm sorry, I wasn't eavesdropping. Did you say your boss was Jerry Buss? He goes, yeah. I used to play for the Lakers. I go, wait, but who are you? He goes, I'm James Worthy. And my wife goes, why does that sound familiar? And she looks on her phone. She goes, oh my God, dude, you're famous in Los Angeles. And I'm like, it's coming back to me, James Worthy. And the reason is the connection. My neighbor before he passed away is Dr. Jerry Buss of the LA Lakers. Again, that was Glenn on the 4th of July. He put James Worthy in that seat for me to talk to.
Wow.
And then it gets even harder to believe. I was talking to James. I said, where were you today? He goes, I was playing golf before I came here up at the Riviera Club. Check this out. 6 months ago at the Riviera Club, my nephew plays golf. He was at the Riviera Club. An airplane runs out of gas, lands at the Riviera Club. He records it, and a dragon flies by the airplane. Oh. And I have that video.
Wow.
They're everywhere. These UAP dragons are everywhere. Take the dragon challenge. Take your phone out, hold it sideways, record helicopters. Zoom in 20% for 30 seconds. look for a dot. That will be the UAP Dragon. Take the Dragon Challenge. It's free. You will see them fly by. Do not give up on your first video.
Yeah. One last question, Dr. Robert.
Yeah.
You mentioned about 4-star generals and 4-star admirals are the only ones that are let in on all this top secret stuff. Well, the Pentagon had a meeting about a week or so ago. Remember the
Okay.
And they said that they were all 4-star generals and admirals that come to the meeting, and they wanted to talk to them about being physically fit in the military. That's what the Secretary of War said, and that's what Trump was saying, that they wanted to talk to them about taking care of their soldiers, making sure they get proper exercise and they're ready, battle ready.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think there was something else they were talking to them about, because you said, you give me the clue, 4-star generals, 4-star admirals were there at the meeting, and that's it. That was it. About 200 of them, I think, was there. They were telling them other things, not just physically fit. Why would they do that? They would do it at a post. They'd have somebody come in and talk to them at a military post and talk to the commander and say, how's your physical fitness program going? Do the guys get enough calisthenics? Do they run? Do they exercise? The government's saying now we need to train these guys better. They would have done that, not get them all together. These 4-star and 4-star admirals. So you give me a little tip there, Dr. Robert.
You just gave me one. I totally agree with what you're saying. Let me tell you another example. Major Filer told me. So they were doing war games 20 years ago. Our Navy, of course, was doing war games. And these UFOs came in and started flying around the aircraft carriers. So the admirals, 3-star admirals, they called the Pentagon and said, hey, these UFOs are here. What do you want us to do? The Pentagon said, stop what you're doing. We'll get back to you. Stop the games. Stop the exercise. We'll get back to you. Okay? 3-star admirals. 3-star admirals are known as vice admirals.
Mm-hmm.
1 hour later, the Pentagon called back and told these 3-star admirals, forget about everything you just saw and what we talked about. You do not have UFO clearance, and you delete everything we just talked about, destroy, rip up any transmissions.
Wow. So now I think there's something up with the Department of War. Hegseth is a young guy, physical fitness guy, so they use that as a front. And he actually gave the speech, the opening speech, but that afternoon, who knows what they were talking about? Were they talking about 3-Eye Atlas? Was they talking about UFOs underneath the oceans? That's what they were talking about, probably.
Dave, that's a great observation. I'm ashamed to say I didn't think of it first. I should have caught that. You're absolutely right.
Well,
there's no reason for them to have a sit down to talk about the gym.
Right.
There's none. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you give me the tip. You said 4-star and 4-star admirals are the only ones that know about this high top secret stuff with UFOs. So right. I kind of figured they were talking about AI Atlas. They were talking about things that they've been observing out in space, and they're talking about the underwater bases, because I heard, and Representative Luna and Representative Comer, both said that the Navy is, and the one that you talked about, the senator, he said that they're driving the Navy crazy, these underwater bases. And that's where I get the clue that this was a UFO meeting, and it was covered up, totally covered up. Physical fitness bullshit. I'm sorry, I've used the word bullshit.
You hit it right on that. 30 miles north of me is the Malibu UFO base. It's been on Google Map for 20 years. Last year, Google deleted the image.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's a giant warehouse with a flat roof. It looks like somebody poured sand on a flat roof. It sticks out like a sore thumb.
Hmm.
I mean, it's all over. Just type in Malibu UFO base, you'll see it.
Yeah. All right. I
I don't
guess
know.
we'll end the show, Dr. Robert, because you got to take your wife out to dinner,
I
and
do.
I don't want to. A happy wife is a happy home, whatever. So
Yeah.
you've got to take care of that. And I want to thank you for doing the show. And I'm glad we had this one-on-one discussion because we opened some doors of other ideas. And
Yes, we did.
yes, and you triggered some things in me that I thought, wow, this is what's going on. Okay, we can all figure it out like that. But Dr. Robert Schiepe, thank you so much for being on the show. And we're going to have some. I guess you're going to have some video you're going to send me.
I'm going to send you that live video from an hour ago with the sheriff. I
Okay.
haven't even edited it. Just watch it. It's five
All right.
minutes. You'll see watch it on the big screen. You'll see these things flying around. And
Mhm.
then later tonight after dinner, I'll slow it down and I'll send you that.
Okay, I'll play it along with this video, along with this show.
Nice.
Yeah, thank you
Nice.
so much,
Super
Dr.
nice.
Robert, and everybody out there. You've been listening to the Dave Emmons Strange Reality Show. Although I do have the stars in behind me, and I did it for a reason. I'm watching AI Atlas. No, I'm not kidding you. This isn't a live shot. That's just a picture there, but it kind of reminds me of this AI Atlas that's coming in. So, okay, this is Dave Emmons, and this is Dr. Robert Schiepe, and we're going to say good night to everybody, and thank you for
Thank
watching.
you.
Bye
Good
bye.
night.